Hello, folks, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Joe Joe and Love, here to review AEW Dynamite for you guys. So, welcome back. Now, coming off a week where AEW Dynamite Homecoming last week got some mixed reviews. Was it unorganized, you could say, not as planned AEW Dynamite as it felt. People thought AEW should rebound, reset after World's End. So that's why it got its fair share of mixed reviews around the IWC. But alas, we're here off a better AEW Dynamite, off the heels rather. But was better, was good episode of Dynamite. I did like, some of the matches, again, were iffy, but, loved the direction, Roddy, Orange Cassidy, that feud. John Purazzo, Tony Storm, that's looking nice. Going down the road, etc. Private Party. The tag team division starting to gain some ground, it appears, and that's always fun to see. Especially since Big Bill and Ricky Starks had a fun matchup against Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho on Saturday at Battle of the Belts. But alas, we are here to go over all AEW Dynamite. So much, but alas, thank you for joining me. A little change up, I might as well say, a little bit in the podcast schedule starting next week. For those watching who follow my sports topics videos, you'll know that there are less, pro games, less football games out there, but nonetheless, usually I do 4 videos, what it seems, the last number of weeks, 2 for sports and 2 for AEW. The 2 for AEW will continue. We'll narrow it down to one big sports show as well, though, so it'll only be 3 main episodes, but alas, still get content, and then perhaps some shorts as well. But alas, that's a little minor change, but either way, I'll still be boosting out content for you guys. So yeah. But yeah, just narrow down a video for the schedule starting next week. Don't worry, I'll still boost out some shorts as well for some little topics in the community. But to continue on wrestling for today, so AEW Dynamite, I mentioned, had some good highs, some minor lows, but Young Bucks, I mentioned Private Party, and then the main event with Hook and Samoa Joe. That was fun. Very fun, given the amount of time it was given, Samoa Joe, just continuing to look like a beast, and then at the end, Hook stood in as long as he could, but yeah, the onslaught of Samoa Joe, that was ferocious and fun. Say what you want about the tweets and, Hook, Jinder Mahal, that thing, but nonetheless, Hook held his own. It did feel like some added pressure because of what Tony Khan mentioned, but overall, it was a good sound performance in the main event, so cool there. But now let's get into review. So, starting with Christian Cage versus Dustin Rhodes for the TNT Championship. This match, honestly say, well, Dustin, he was part of that 8-man tag last week, and then he beat Willie Mack, and then there's a little bit of a promo thing after on Collision. So, I mean, they deserve this match? No. But it was a hell of a match, I will say. Arguably the match of the night, besides the main event, but was good. Dustin at his age, Christian at his age, it's very admiring and fun to see two guys, especially with the ages they're at, to still pump out a very good performance and a very good match. You gotta admire it. So, after break, Dustin, they had some flurries of offense back and forth, but Dustin finally caught him with a boot and then a bulldog coming off the ropes for a near fall. Christian, with his savvy advantage, heel-like tendencies, he basically did a middle rope hot shot on Dustin, and then followed up with a top rope frog splash for a near fall. Dustin went for it a number of times in the match, but eventually he caught Christian with the Shattered Dreams, aka that low blow where Christian's kind of defenseless up against the middle turnbuckle. So there we go. Dustin, this was a very good sequence, I gotta say. So seems like we're seeing more and more where a wrestler does a superplex and then right into something a little different. So Dustin, he hit a superplex off the top to Christian Cage and then followed up with a final reckoning, that twisting suplex for a near fall. So that was the best chance at Dustin during the match. Nick Wayne, he got involved a few times during the match. It's one of these things now with Christian, as age and with the few injuries at the top of the card for AEW, kind of think, well, maybe Christian Cage does not need to be wrestling and say these types of matches, save them for the big ones, because we know how big Christian is on the mic. So that's just thought, and maybe he can be represented and Nick Wayne or Killswitch, because that's the thing, Nick Wayne, still really young, but could very well use more experience, and then Killswitch, aka Luchasaurus, and how good he is as a big man. So, just thoughts there as the way they can advance some of these storylines. It's like, say this was Dustin versus Nick Wayne, and then perhaps Dustin beats Nick Wayne. That they're compelled to a title match. Maybe not a Revolution, but before, and then progresses Adam Copeland, aka Edge, versus Christian at Revolution. We didn't see Adam Copeland, though, a part of these Christian Cage segments, either on Collision or Dynamite. So, interesting stuff there, although Taz did mention Copeland at the end. So, finally, Christian hit a spear followed a kill switch. Dustin kicked out. So there's that, and then Dustin, defiant. Anyway, Christian hit another kill switch on Dustin. 1, 2, 3, and Christian finally retains against Dustin Rhodes in a hard-fought match, but a very good one. This is what you don't like about AEW sometimes, though, because it was like, it really felt like sometimes they just have a match and then they go too quickly the next segment. They don't let things breathe sometimes, which, yeah, that sucks. Because, yeah, they went right to Renee, who was backstage with Swerve Strickland. Swerve Strickland talked about, Continental Classic, basically leave that in the rearview mirror as he got his sights set on the World Heavyweight title. And he had some eyeliner on, some little ad look, you can tell in his expression, Joker-like for Swerve. So then, Renee asked about Hangman Page, talked about him wanting the AEW World title as well, and you can tell, Swerve just wasn't happy, wasn't in the mindset, and his demeanor, talked about Swerve giving him 2 good matches, but in the end, he beat him twice. So he doesn't have anything to prove to him again. And say that even if by the grace of God to get help to Hangman, he would still not be able to beat him. So there's his 2 cents there. So then, someone who's not in a positive light these days, and it's weird. Chris Jericho. Now, say what you want about things online, the whole allegations and stuff. Nonetheless, it sucks for all the parties involved. So, Jericho, this felt a little clumsy. Another thing, you gotta say about AEW that unfortunately doesn't ring well. So Jericho talked about the very good street fight that was on Saturday against Big Bill and Ricky Starks, and unfortunately the titles were not only slipped from their grasp but kind of taken from them, and said that the Don Callis family ruined their chances, especially the Kesha. He said that that's part why Sammy's not there tonight, part why he's injured. Hopefully Sammy's not injured again. Sammy, he took a big spot, like a fall down spot almost off the scaffolding kind of area at Battle of the Belts, is tough landing. Sammy said as a father, he's going to scale it back, and that's what happened. So, there's that. So, then Jericho pretty much offered saying he's going to seek and destroy his ass, aka Takeshita, probably another match. So, all of a sudden, because like I said, it's one of those things where about AEW, these matches get made in these backstage like segments, like right off the bat. It's like someone's doing a promo, someone comes in, they say some stuff, and then the match is made. So Matt Sydal came trotting in, which is all blue, saying Jericho's all too worked about this, saying he needs to forget what's happening and focus on going forward. He needs to face someone in a match that has beaten them before, get back on the right track. And Matt Sydal challenged him to a match, and they talked about for a Rampage on Friday. So, not Jericho is wrestling on Dynamite with, these reactions and stuff. He's going to be wrestling on a taped Rampage, which I'm assuming they're going to mess around with the audio and stuff. It sucks. Does seem like we're going to get Takeshita versus Jericho probably at Revolution. Should be a fun match. But yeah, this side out thing, it didn't go too well. Orange Cassidy and Trent barreta versus Penta and Kommander. From my assumption, this looked like it was going to be the Lucha Brothers versus Best Friends. But, we got Penta and Kommander, so Phoenix was at ringside, and Chuck Taylor was not. Although he saw him, which again, I was like, what is up with Chuck Taylor? Well, anyway, so I can understand that. I would kind of prefer Trent versus Penta, just as a way to lead into the tag match instead of this. Good match. It's just, it didn't give a great impression, basically. this match here. So, penta or kommander dive on the outside. Penta hit Made in Japan for a near fall. There was a good sequence with a destroyer followed a tightrope splash by kommander for a near fall. Trent got the offense, hit a running knee, orange punch, and then Trent hit his reverse tombstone on kommander for the win. So there we go. Yeah, we'll see. This tag team match, we'll see. We'll see. Afterwards, Roddy and the Kingdom, part of the Undisputed Kingdom, were out there. That theme is great for them. It's certainly great. So they're out there, and of course, Roddy's eyeing the international title and asks him, since he's in tag matches and not defending his title, maybe it's too much for him. So they play up a fight. He asks Orange to take his sunglasses off, bowing over the mic. Point being, so Roddy challenged him to a match for the international title and trying to play up, Orange. Anyway, playing up that they were going to have the match now, and said, Roddy's like, this isn't the best time. Instead, delayed it to Revolution because Roddy said he wants to give Orange all the time in the world to keep it warm and make him think about him losing that title to Roddy. At Revolution, Roddy, new international champion. That's a given. Yeah, it seems like a given. Roddy certainly would make the Undisputed Kingdom look stronger, per se. So, the Young Bucks, this new attitude and this demeanor and stuff, it's looking very good for them. So, Renee, who you gotta admit looked great in this segment. So she was introducing Matt and Nick Jackson. Nick was like, whoa. We are EVPs. Maybe give us a little more respect around here by introducing us by our God-given names. Calling him Nicholas Jackson and Matthew Jackson. So, says how, they have stroke around there, and Renee played up to the temper tantrums and the public blow-ups, basically, meltdowns. So Matt was like, you don't really believe that, do you? So That's not them. So they brought up Sting, and now Young Bucks interrupted Sting and Darby after that fight versus the Don Callis family last week, saying how maybe it's a challenge to Sting to be his final match at Revolution. So they talked about, well, Sting is a role model. They respect Sting. Hopefully one day they talk about as us as they do Sting. But what Sting kind of represents is how they've lost their way and catering to the yesterday, toxicity that has crept into the locker room. The superstars of yesterday. Little dig, maybe at CM Punk, I'd say. So Nick said they're gonna have to say goodbye to Sting. And Renee basically offered his odd challenge. And Nick looked at his phone, they looked at his phone, and then they left. Said they'll pull some strings around here. So, first of all, I mentioned about Sting and the Young Bucks. Look, Young Bucks, considering how big they are, and just like it's gonna be a tag team match again, probably not for a title. We'll see. Darby did make a challenge to Big Bill and Ricky Starks, so we'll see. But yeah, but Sting probably called for the Young Bucks. This is probably what Sting wants. Likely. For his last match. Sting and Darby versus the Bucks. And probably, how it's going to finish, how things are going to go down. I mean, definitely credit to what Sting, Steve Borden wants. So, if that's what's influenced or gotten people to this match, you're definitely here for it. The Bucks, we know, whether FTR, whether CM Punk, they're basically vilified right now. And, people are still going on about the CM Punk stuff. In any news, it should not, and I get it, for the Bucks shape to kind of cater into this. This whole heel dynamic is definitely working so far, I feel, for the Bucks. And yeah, I think it's a good thing. So, for what Singh wants, what the changes are made to the Bucks, I mean, I think it really works. I think it's working so far. Now, we got over a month to go. So, we'll see. Bullet Club Gold. First, the Mogul Embassy. For the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team titles. Now, so, Prince Nana made the challenge to Bullet Cup Gold for this match here. And it's a sound match, was good for what it was. But if you're like me and you're like, well, AEW has a lot of titles. So carrying on the Ring of Honor titles on AEW TV is not, it's a bit overkill. But considering now that Bullet Cup Gold is kind of mingling up with the Acclaimed, yeah, because since that first segment, Bullet Cup Gold has not mentioned the Undisputed Kingdom, really. It's only been segments with the Acclaim. Excuse me. So I mentioned that. So the Acclaimed have the AEW Trios titles. Revolution on the horizon. So, I mean, to make the most sense out of this, because I kept saying, well, this whole Bullet Cup Gold Acclaim situation, if it's going to lead now to Trios titles match at Revolution, then I'm here for it. That's obviously the best scenario. But this match, fine. Bullet Cup Gold, I'm not sure if it's their new official theme, this one-time thing, but this was, I'd say, good. The only thing missing is the Bullet Club intro before it. But it's definitely good. Good, I liked it. Jay White won with a Blade Runner. Simple as that. We got the new Trios champions or new Ring of Honor 6-man champions. So yeah. And it was due to assists from Anthony Bowen. So, playing up that partnership. But yeah, if this way to have a unification bout, then I guess that works, yeah. It's definitely the most plausible way of thinking when it comes to this. So, Deonna Purazzo, the Virtuosa, here again versus Anna Jay. Solid match between these two ladies, I gotta say. We know Anna Jay is still, in her realm to improve, but against Deonna Purazzo, I'd say this is a fine match. So, excuse me. So, Jay a backbreaker, but only for near fall. And then again, looking at that double arm, it's almost like a chicken wing, like submission hold. Double cross arm breaker by Purazzo, and Jay gave up. So there you go. Match fine. Tony Storm, I gotta say, so Ian Riccaboni was on commentary tonight. Riccaboni does very well So Tony Storm was, calling Riccaboni Mr. Schiavone, aka Tony Schiavone, feeding him like cookies or something. I mean, it was a hilarious dynamic at ringside. So afterwards, Deonna, she got called or for an interview saying, well, that, excuse me, that, she's known Tony for 10 years. She's wondering about the vibe. Asking if there's any personal issues with her and Tony. And she's like, no. Thought she had a friend, Tony Storm. And Tony Storm's like, reflecting it, whatever you want to say. So she got on Luther's shoulders and then going into her mannery, I mean, just hilarious what Tony Storm does. I mean, the way it flips from black and white to color and black and white to color for Tony. Hilarious. So, in the end, chin out, tits out, watch her shoe. Through her shoe, I mean, there was shoes flying. I mean, Mariah May got a little goofy, but kind of worked. Yeah, was fine for what it was. Presume we're gonna get Tony versus Deonna. Have Revolution, which would work, I'd say. We'll see. We'll see. Private Party versus Top Flight. It's definitely great to see these two teams, these two young tag teams back and healthy. Private Party. So Mark Quinn was out with they said was a pec injury. Well, he certainly returned. He was certainly back. He was flying. And yeah, it was a good match against Top Flight. So finish of the match was different. So Private Party. So Cassidy was getting beaten down for a while during this match. Eventually made the hot tag to Mark Quinn. He had dives on both to the outside, Suicida, and then a top rope dive back and forth, and then a tope. Quinn certainly felt like himself, I think, and so back of the ring, Quinn hit a 450, but only got a near fall. And then Top Flight match back with a, super kick, flatliner, quick combination for a near fall. So Private Party then hit Gin and Juice and then was broken up by Darius. And then Mark Quinn rolled up Darius, but then at the end grabbed the top rope. And I mean, the way Rick Knox, because it always feels like it's Rick Knox in a weird situation with the count. I will say it kind of looked weird with the angle he was at, and they play off like he didn't see Mark Quinn grab the ropes. That's just my feeling. But in the event, Private Party seal victory from Top Flight, and then Action Andretti's not happy about it after, but solid showing from both. So we go to the main event. So what I gotta say is this, because I missed it initially, but I mean, going back to it, I was like, man. Now, it happened early in the show, so Mark Briscoe. So apparently, it's been a year since Jay Briscoe, aka Jim and Pew, passed away in a car accident. And yeah, seeing a bunch of reflection, throwback tribute videos, online, like, damn, it's been a year. 'Cause yeah, that sucked. Thing that sucks really is, it took him passing away for Warner Brothers to acknowledge them for AEW television. That's the thing. Anywho, so Mark was out there and he got emotional talking about how it's been a year since he passed away. I mean, I assume their mother and Papa Briscoe, they were at ringside. So yeah, Mark got emotional. And it was also talked about because the nieces were in the car. And they said that his oldest niece, they said she may never walk again. However, so then his nieces and his nephew, they walked on the stage. There was a moment, a teary-eyed moment between the four. I mean, yeah. Emotional moment on AEW. And yeah, it sucks. It's been a year since we lost Jim Hugh. But yeah. Hopefully Mark, certainly earns himself into a title picture, a single skull title picture, way it seems. Because, yeah, he deserves it. He showed it off during the Continental Classic that he can do it on his own. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see. So then we go to the main event. Hook versus Mojo. I thought this was layered out very well. So, seeing the Hook signal in the sky is certainly a fun thing to see. How it works out. But yeah, the entrance and the pop, they really made you feel for Hook in this match. I mean, the intensity by Samoa Joe, that was certainly a level in of itself. Because he took a whooping, did Hook. Hook came out with a fast start. Land blows on Samoa Joe. And, trying to get early advantage, but Samoa Joe would eventually get the advantage back. So there you go. So then on the outside, two very brutal bumps. So Samoa Joe, and I'm not sure what's with the AEW tables these days, but I mean, because we saw that thing at Full Gear when it's like the table collapsed and then MJF did that top rope elbow to JY on the floor. Here this time, so Samoa Joe hit Uranagi to Hook and on the front of the table, and the table just collapsed. So, kind of added to the physicality at the moment. And, doctors checking on Hook, or Samoa Joe, he's trotting around, almost mocking Hook, pretty much. In the strut by Hook. Hook managed to get up, but Samoa Joe followed up with a powerbomb to the apron. Dr. Sampson looking at Hook, and then you could tell with the count out and stuff, like Hook was being looked at, and then all of a sudden at 9, shoves Dr. Sampson, gets back in the ring. So Samoa Joe continues on the beatdown, to the point where Samoa Joe landed a muscle buster. This is a spot that, got conflicting reports on social media, but nonetheless, so Samoa Joe landed a muscle buster, and Hook kicked out at 1. So, I mean, really want to build Hook and the moment, and, this, doesn't know any better, just going forward, just brutal nature of it. So, Hook kicked out at 1. Crowd went nuts. Hook managed to fire back, land some lariats, fight back, and hit a Northern Lights suplex on Joe. Credit enough to him because we know how big Joe is for a near fall. And then Hook went for the Red Rum, but couldn't lock it on Joe. Joe countered, swift counter into the Coquina clutch. Locked on to Hook. Hook tried to fight it off, but Hook ultimately passed out, and Samoa Joe retains the AEW World Championship. Now after, because I'm sure people were thinking of that this gave Undertaker Jeff Hardy vibes from that very good ladder match back in 2002. So, where Hook would just be getting up, challenging Joe. So, any event, after the second time, Hangman Page music hits, and then he trots out trying to make the save for Hook, and Samoa Joe hightails it. So Samoa Joe then looking at his challengers now, because saw Hangman, bit of stare off, and then Swerve. He was at ringside. So, I mean, good ending. Joe on the stage, Hangman in the ring, Swerve at ringside. It was good. And then Hangman tried to give Hook his props in the ring, but Hook was like, nah, I got it. Thanks, though. Yeah. Toughness by Hook and good outing, but yeah. So yeah, it definitely seems like a triple threat for Revolution. Any guy could win it, honestly. I think. Swerve, this may be their way to protect Joe, get the title on Swerve, and then prolong this feud between Swerve and Hangman. Because look, Samoa Joe, love as world champion, good that, gotten the recognition that he didn't really get in WWE, that he got in NXT, TNA, etc., Ring of Honor. But you're worried that Samoa Joe may be a transitional champion. That's just the thing. And it sucks, but with how far along Swerve is, I mean, it's just, I don't know who's going to win at Revolution, but it would certainly be a fun match. Certainly a fun thing to turn into. We'll see, though. But nonetheless, that's the end of Dynamite for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, click that like button, leave a thumbs up, subscribe. Thank you guys all for liking, subscribing. Feel free to comment, leave just anything. But yeah, thank you guys all. See you guys next time for Collision, though, on Sunday or Monday. But keep it all up and see you guys next time. Adios. Peace.